be able to review it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, like I said, the intent is for the equipment to be returned in its original condition with its original equipment.
right.
That way, it's, you know, we state our intent that, hey, you don't get to swap your batteries out by borrowing radios, and that they need to send it back with everything they were given. But at the same time, not holding, you know, if radio flakes out, the agency's not responsible for the repair of something that would otherwise might even be covered under a warranty or a service agreement.
Right.
Okay. I may have to run this by legal, but I don't see that being an issue. So, just for the language content.
Okay, so we've got the motion and the second. Is there any discussion or anyone against?
Is that the motion just to add that language, or is that the motion to approve this policy with it?
Pass with the changes that you just requested.
Okay.
Okay, so Chris, I have you that you made the motion and Jim Link seconded to approve the policy with those revisions.
Correct.
Hearing no opposition, we'll consider it passed. And Shannon, help me out. Is that all 5 of them that we needed?
No, we've still got 2 more policies to go. So the approval of the access, use of PSAP, main dispatch channels.
Any discussion on that one? Hearing no discussions, a motion.
McCarthy will make a motion to.
A second.
Greg Brown, I'll second.
Any opposition or further discussion? Hearing none, we'll consider that passed. All right, so the last approval that we need is the standardization of LE code plugs and radio policy. Anybody have any questions on that one?
Do we have to, this is Veronica, do we have to add the federal fleet map to this standardization that we just approved?
Ed, can you speak on that?
I honestly don't know if it needs to be added in like it is or how it gets voted in.
I mean, this is McCarthy. I have absolutely no dog in this race, but it looks like those zones already exist in the list of your under standardization of code plug examples by zone for your handheld radios. I mean, every one of those zones is in there.
Right, that all the zones do exist. This is just an adoption, so I can hand it over to the Fed group and give it to them so that they can program their radios accordingly. I don't know if it needs to be in the manual or not.
Well, I guess since they exist, I guess we don't have to put the exact layout in there. We'll have it in the user group manual. So if there's any question, we can always go back to that to determine what questions someone may have, I guess. That's all I have.
Okay.
You know, if Curtis, Steve Schicker, we can add it as addendum B. We have A and B if the committee would choose to do that. I don't know, Ed, if you want to give a recommendation or just leave it the way it is.
Okay, I'll recommend that we have an addendum in the manual to include the federal fleet map as it's going to be presented to them to program their radios.
Okay, so then we'll do the addendum that's in there currently is A, and then the federal fleet map is B. We'll change the wording in the paragraph that's highlighted on the first page under policy B.
Okay, so we still need to approve the LE code plug policy, correct?
Yes.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve that?
This is Veronica. I'll make a motion to approve the code plug policy.
Okay. Second?
McCarthy.
Jim Linkle, second.
All right, a motion and a second. Any opposition or further discussion? Hearing none, we'll consider it passed. Moving right along, nomination and election of user group chairpersons. Is that, Shannon, is that for this committee?
Yeah, that's for this committee, for the operations committee.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead, Shannon.
so we know that Steve Sack has vacated his position, and Kurt, you have expressed interest in leaving the group.
I mean, I'm okay with staying with the group if needed. However, I thought it was at one point it was the chair and the vice chair of each committee that was supposed to be on it. So that's why I was trying to step down. I didn't want to step on the new chair and vice chair toes of the PSAP committee. And the only reason I'm stepping down is I've got a really large CAD project looming over my head, and I'm just not going to have time to do a whole lot anymore. So until that's done. So anyone want to nominate themselves for chairperson? Now, don't all talk at once.
So Brian Battles is the chair of the PSAP committee?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
I'll nominate Brian Battles for the chair, and I'll nominate myself for the vice chair.
And I'll second both.
Okay.
Any further nominations or opposition?
I have no opposition.
I didn't think anybody would. All right. Congratulations, Vern, and I'll let you deliver the bad, good, whatever news to Brian.
He'll enjoy it.
So the
Everybody
next
has to send
meeting,
When's the next meeting?
the next meeting is scheduled for December 3rd at 10 a.m. Check your schedule. Take a day off, whatever you need to do. Is there any other new business we need to talk about?
Good.
I did have one question for Ed. The Wednesday evening hiccup we had, was that scheduled?
No, it was not scheduled.
All right, I was just saying, if you're scheduling
guys.
4:30 in the afternoon, it's not good.
Hey, Kurt, just I'll give a quick update because that did probably affect everybody in the room. Sorry, I should have probably talked about it earlier. We had it wasn't actually a failure of the radio system, it was a failure of the network that supports it. I mean, all the same at the end of the day, but we identified what happened. We're working with our vendor, our microwave vendor, to kind of do a lessons learned thing and figure out what happened. It was a failure that was created by some testing that was going on in the background. So it wasn't, I guess that's the good news, is it was preventable because it was human error, but why it happened, it still shouldn't have happened. Our understanding of what we were doing did not include that it was going to cause a data storm and take down the network for 10, 15 minutes. So we're still analyzing that with the vendors, but we do know what happened and why. And the good news is it was not a failure of the radio system. It repaired itself like it's designed after we created our own little data storm on a network. So unfortunately, there was no reason to let anybody know we were doing anything, because we've done these things before and not had this problem. So we're going to make a bigger move to move anything we touch on the network to be inside of our maintenance windows, which are late at night or overnight. So if something like this was to happen again, it would at least happen in not a peak time of day during rush hour traffic. Apologies.
I know it was only 10, 15 minutes, but at that time of the day, it felt like hours.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, everybody, it felt even longer to us, especially when we're sitting there trying to figure out what had happened. But it was self-healing, and we watched the network come back up. It just takes a long time for the data loops. There was data flying around that basically didn't have anywhere to go because of what happened, and it self-healed. It just took that time to do it. So unfortunately, there wasn't any way to make it happen any quicker. But we'll take steps to avoid that happening again. Let's put it that way.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Shall we adjourn?
Thank you for the little kind of post-mortem update. I was curious. I'm glad you guys brought it up. So, appreciate it.
Anyone motioning for adjournment?
McCarthy will move for adjournment.
Second?
Digman will second.
Jim. Okay. All right. Any opposition to adjourning? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank you all very much.